Chapter 5. Our Real Identity Beyond Theory. Recognizing and Feeling the Child Within. A Conversation at WOODSONG. William, you say I'm to find the child within myself. How do I actually do that beyond dreaming about it? First, and absolutely essential to the process, we affirm the child's existence and presence. Like God, the child doesn't seem present to the old nature's eye. There are no intellectual proofs immediately at hand. We accept this existence and presence on faith, just as we accept the presence of God on faith. Before long, the child will stir within and prove it is very much alive and present. What will I feel? Oh my goodness, Mary, the child within is actually the child we were, still are, and still here, a child. It laughs with us, it sings in our heart, it remembers. It is interested, it is curious, thoughtful, full of love, excited sometimes, just as we felt as a child. These very feelings begin to return inside us, in small ways at first, like remembering how the freshly cut grass smelled when we were children. It may be the sound of a frosty ground crunching under your feet. We hear it and remember hearing it just that way on our way to school. We hear those sounds again, just as we did as children. We feel certain feelings again, some of them most remarkable. But listen. This time, now that you have been here and heard the strange words, this time we will know it is the child within, and that knowing is essential. Identity is hoving back into view. This time we know it is the original child coming back to consciousness, stirring and renewing itself. This time we know it is the real of us coming again to reprove the nature of reality. It is coming to enliven us, and we are glad. That sounds wonderful, William. What do I do first? Mary, we just said, we affirm the child's presence within us. We admit wholly, fully, faithfully that the child still lives right here, right now, where we are. We determine to let go and let it out, to bring it forth from the stultifying sophistication and guilt of adulthood and time. You see, the child of God is here, our real identity, our original identity. It is that part of us that will survive when the finite body falls away. It is the soul of us that existed before this tangible body came into being. Before Abraham was, the child of God is. We are it. This child is still in us, you say? Is this the soul that religion speaks of? Yes, precisely that. And isn't it wonderful to finally know what that mysterious and nebulous concept is all about? To know what it is and where it is and how it is felt, and that it lives in such tender and wonderful manner, and especially that it still is filled with enthusiasm and joy, and that its rediscovery brings renewal right here in the world? This certainly puts the notion of immortal soul in another light, doesn't it? It clarifies the doctrinal and theological statement, doesn't it? Yes, but much more, Mary. We are finally doing what we are supposed to be doing. Lest ye become as children, you will in no wise enter the kingdom of heaven. And remember another statement as well. A child shall lead them. If the child comes alive again, as you say, what does that do for me here in the flesh? So many things I can't count them. A twinkle in the eye comes back. Fear falls away. We aren't so concerned about time, the body, and its affairs. We know the child in us. We trust the child to lead us straight to knowledge of truth. As a matter of fact, the child is the God of us. The child of God? No, the other way around. God is being the child. The child within is the perfect image of the ineffable, the first identity made in the image of God, as the Bible relates. It lives and moves and has its being in God. It has never been sick. It has never suffered nor made a mistake. It isn't vaunted up nor bowed down. It isn't guilty. It is not bound by temporality or space. And it understands what time and space are all about. The bubbling I feel inside at this moment is my real identity? Yes. What about this awareness right here as I look at you and listen to you? This awareness is the light of life and belongs to God. Awareness is the child I am. Awareness becomes us as we have a change of heart. Let go the old man and return to the child within. This present awareness becomes sharper and clearer because it has things to do in the world. It bubbles a lot more, Mary. Well, for goodness sakes, I don't know what to make of this. You don't know what? It sounds so good and feels wonderful, but I don't know. The doubts and distrusts don't belong to the child, Mary, but to the illegitimate old bastard of us. What do you have to lose? Must I argue for what I have found? Then, in your inner disquiet, you ask to come here to see what I have found? Why do you doubt me? Doubting, distrusting, and forgetting the child identity has backed us up against the wall, struggling in the world, bowed down with grief, depression, fear, guilt, and age. All the while, the child in us is here, waiting to get up again. The child leads us in the time and space world to this one or that one. And the child within has brought you to me, and together, just to hear these words. Why doubt that? Did you come here looking for things to approve or disapprove first? Are you sampling wines until you find one that you like? I'm here out of curiosity, William, to see if you are genuine. Mary, you have found more than that. You have found the keys to the kingdom and to your very life, provided you can bring yourself to believe what you are hearing. Put the words to the test and go where the child of yourself leads. William, on the one hand, it sounds so easy, maybe too much like the things I heard in church. They use other words, of course, soul instead of child. And that's the rub here, I think. I don't like things theological or religious. At the root, yours is a new theology or a restatement of old theology. I don't quite know which. What happened to all the absolute metaphysics you wrote for so many years? Nothing has happened to it, Mary. The subjective message is entirely intact. It was and is correct as far as subjectivism goes, but metaphysics is only a part of the grand mystery. One eventually breaks through subjectivism and its metaphysics into the green field of simplicity again, finally knowing what the complexity was for and about. The bottom line of it all is this magnificent simplicity of identity we are talking about this morning here under the Alabama pines. The child has dominion. The child is the place of exchange, within and without, above and below, first and last, male and female, tangible and intangible. The child leads us consciously to all truth. We find the child within ourselves. This is no new theology. This is not a new religious view or new doctrine. It is the secret fact that doesn't miss the mark, as religion and metaphysics have missed. I am baffled, William. I just don't know. Well, think about it, Mary. You've heard it straight and true. The child is you. It is up to you, yourself, and God. Where does the old nature fit? Unfortunately, as it seems, we manage to insert an impostor between the child and Godhead inside, and between the child and the world outside. We surround the child with the shell of identity, the old man who has his ideas about things, and that is where our trouble lies. To try to get rid of the old nature first, as religion and metaphysical instruction has us doing, is to enter a void without vision of the child. We find the child first, then the old nature falls away as the morning mist along the river vanishes in the sunshine of a new day. To find the child is to end the domination of the old man, and there is no other way. But the world finding is soon to begin. Man has grown in time's field, the original seed forgotten. Now the new seed is forming inside the bowls, and it is nearly time for the awakening harvest. Know what is before your eyes. Along the slopes of Dashan, we identify as a mortal, an ego, and are faced with all the problems inherent in that limited belief. On the world's slopes, we struggle with opposites assailing us from all directions. Atop Dashan, where the child takes us and becomes us, quickly we stand with the entire world under our feet, having dominion over everything we understand. Our way to that promised dominion is to let the eternal child, which is there and everywhere in time and space already, come to us, confirm our rightful identity, and prove that we are indeed the child of God atop the mountain. That confirmation appears to the old nature of us as a speeding up of the climb to understanding, even as you may sense already as you read these words. Then it comes as wonder upon wonder happening in our affairs, not all of them easy, until the old nature vanishes like the nothing it is, leaving us atop Dashan, our head in reality, our feet upon reality's confirmation. Can you remember? The child has a special way to act in the world. Can you remember? There was no worry about where the next meal was coming from. There was no worry about the heat or the cold. There was no concern for the body. There was constant expectancy. There was constant looking and examining and enjoying every new thing. All of this is a way we can feel and act again, because the child within brings us back to life. Truly, the whole secret very nearly lies couched in the simple wonder of childlike expectancy. That is it. Expectancy. Expectancy. Of what? Good. Just that. Not good as one personally believes it should be, not good as anyone has outlined it to mean, not good as prescribed personal determinations, but good however it appears. Does good appear just because the child expects it? It appears whether we expect it or not, but the expectation allows us to see it, because we are looking for it around every turn and over every hill. When we sit down to rest, there it is in front of our nose. A letter. Dear Mr. Samuel, I send these words to you because I know you will understand them. There is a wonderful feeling here in the far west, and it is getting into my soul. That is, the child I used to be is coming back for me again. It has started happening again during the past few days. It is happening right now, as a matter of fact. How to describe this feeling? It can't be written, except by comparison with the crappy feelings I have had so often since those days long ago when I first found it, or it found me. But I couldn't believe it. It is this, as nearly as I can write it. I found something years ago, but I wasn't ready then. There was more living to do and more abuse to experience. Plain old suffering to learn what really is real. So, with God's mysterious way, I built a great wall around myself to inhibit it all until I could really do with it as I should. Now, it has started coming back again. It is coming back again, and I am full of joy because now I know what it is. Lying on the bed a short time ago, I went back in my mind to those days when I felt this way before. I heard someone sawing a board and remembered when I was sawing boards for my Spring Street house. I feel that something now as I did then, through and through. I am hearing sounds as I heard them then. I am feeling in the heart of me as I felt then. Even the air smells the way it did when I was a young man in time. It is coming back. It hasn't gone as I thought. I am feeling the child inside myself again. You said I would. Yesterday, as Sue and I drove with Marjorie down to the beach, I felt it for a moment and I said, I'm feeling the California feeling. But no one knew what I meant, and I couldn't tell them. Then again, later, as we walked along the block, just for a second, now again this afternoon. And it is lingering longer. It is staying. It is coming back. Thank God it is coming back. How can I ever tell anyone what it means to move backward and forward in time like this? People will think I'm insane. But the child I am is coming back, and this is what I meant when I told Sue and Marjorie that, if I could feel like this all the time, I just might live forever. Something wonderful is happening. The feeling of yore, like love, is coming back, full-fledged, shaken together and running over. This time I will run with it, as you said, Bill, and let it take me to the top of the mountain. Bill Samuel, as you write in your journal so often, so now I write in mine. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Lord of light and life. This is indeed mysterious and marvelous. P.S. It is months since the above was written. I have hesitated sending such a crazy mixed-up letter. Dear Lord, I feel the child still. Even now, as I read the words above and as I write these, it has happened exactly as you said, Bill. The child is alive and kicking. Oh, yes. He has come out from the world's burial, and I am alive again. The feeling within, the child my friend is finding, is the guide to life. It is the Christos, Gnosis, and, when accepted as one's identity, the Logos itself. Another letter. Dear William, today is my 80th birthday, and I'm spending part of it writing this letter to you. As everyone always says, it doesn't seem possible that so much time has passed since those first days I remember in the little crib with my Mother Goose characters on the headboard. Time flies so swiftly, but that doesn't matter anymore because now I know that time is not real. And I will have this known too. This old body may be pushing 80 years, but the spirit of me is the eternal, ageless child. The fingers are stiff and the muscles weak, but that spirit is as frisky as ever. As a matter of fact, that child inside is better than it used to be. It has had half a century of rest, buried under the world's trash pile of guilt. Thank you for helping me rediscover the little girl still here and leading me to new heights of insight. Joyfully I am. It is possible to see God's good in everything. Everything pertaining to the mystery has to do with looking for good everywhere. The ability to do this is all so very simple and childlike that the old nature of us doesn't want to believe it is even possible. What a wonderful mystery it is, hidden all those years in simplicity and clothed in childlikeness. The little child looks out to the world for its instructions. The adult turns within and struggles there until, when the child is found, he looks outward again in new and constant anticipation of good. It is a strange demand. The intellect insists to look for good when there is so little good to be seen anywhere. The world is about to explode. Civilization teeters on the brink of annihilation. Where is good in any of this? I look about and see the horror. Not good. Look at the newspapers and the newscasts on television. Is there any good there? There is that wonderful statement of Jesus found in the Gospel of Thomas. He says to Thomas, he speaks to the anticipation of good. The angels and the prophets will come to you, and they will give you what is yours. At first thought, the metaphysician or theologian might argue that the anticipation of good is to deny its presence right here before our eyes. It is just the opposite of such denial. It is to look at everything and search for the grand good there. That good is sometimes obvious. We see it quickly in the long-lost gold ring hiding in the garden. It isn't as easy to see it in the gray stone we've just bumped our foot on. The pitfalls and stumbling blocks, the angry politicians, the shouting demonstrators and terrorists occlude the perception of good here. Or, so it seems at first, until we make the breakthrough. After a time of looking for good in the world, we begin to see it everywhere, everywhere. Good comes to confirm itself for those who look for it and seek it, and seek the wisdom in God's creation round about. Haven't we been proclaiming all these years that God, good, is everywhere? And hasn't the mystic been whispering that God is all? All means what it says. If God is all and God is good, there is good in everything. And there is. Make me prove it. I have very nearly found it in everything. The anticipation of good. This experience I am living has grown into something quite beyond words. No hyperbole here. Exactly the way it is. Simply an explosion of inner joy and a continuing confirmation of that joy beyond anything I had ever known except for the briefest moments. Oh, how to say this, and why? I answer the why quickly. I write as a marker for my others who dream of such joy. It is true, it happens. It isn't just a dream of desire along the way. I do not know how lasting in the world's time it will seem to be, but my life has been made full. The other evening, at a lovely lady's house, one of the guests spoke of going to a concert and suddenly getting caught up in the glorious tingling thrill of joy and delight. Her eyes sparkled as she told of it. Everyone could see her tears of reminiscence, and knew what a genuine joy she spoke of. Then she fell silent, her eyes closed, and I heard myself saying, "That's it. That is the joy of the experience everyone calls enlightenment." Some speak of it as illumination, sparks from the child within. First, we recognize those fleeting moments and acknowledge them for being the light of life they are. In so acknowledging them, we are faithful to the pennies of such moments and eventually find ourselves trusted with the dollars of them. Greater moments come, and greater. We look around one day to find we are living in the continual confirmation of the joy we have faithfully anticipated. These words are true and faithful. They tell of a great joy beyond words, what must surely be one of the wonders of the wonders. I have not seen a person who cannot prove the honesty of these concepts for himself and begin to live a new life and a new marvelous experience. The joy of that moment at that concert will expand and expand, I told the lady, so that the thrill continues. I don't know if I could stand that, she said. Joy is our heritage, our birthright. We are the children of God, so joy is our heritage. Why should we deprive ourselves of the inheritance by thinking one must perish in the flesh before God's kingdom becomes God's kingdom? And God saw everything he made, and behold, it was very good. That good is right here, right now, even as I struggle to write about it. Good is ours for the anticipation. But that's not the end of the matter. The anticipation and receipt of truth is only half the joy. There is much to be done with the truth once we've received it. That is the subject we'll be into soon. Walking with the child. Dear Rebecca, sit easy as you read this. Clearly, you are a lovely lady, clean and decent and pure, worthy of my secrets. I cannot wave a wand and make all pain and anguish go away. but they will go away. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. If anyone has ever attained to the secret of the child within without human anguish, I have never seen or heard of him. Blessed is the man who has suffered. He has found the life. Rebecca, be assured that your inner turmoil is not in vain. It is not for nothing. It is not anything you are guilty for. Rather, it has been as necessary for you as it was for me, as it is to every small and large creature emerging from its self-spun darkness. Here's a mystery. The little girl of yourself is still present within you. In the world's belief, the child of us gives way to adulthood with all the anguish of growing up, growing older, marriage, non-marriage, family, all the rest of the world's tribulations. But the little girl of you is still very much alive, Rebecca. I ask you to do the following, which will prove it. If you take a quiet walk this evening, the child of you will go with you. If you let her, she will see the pathway, the grass, the trees, and the mountains for you, just as you remember her seeing them when you were an absolutely carefree child. Anticipate that as you go for your walk. If you walk quietly tonight, mindful of the child of yourself, she will let you hear the distant sounds and smell the evening fragrances exactly as she let you hear them and enjoy them when you were that wonderful 7 years old. Gentle Rebecca, that little girl you were doesn't feel the anguish of the world nor anything wayward. The pure, simple, credulous, pristine child of us doesn't give two hoots about religion or mysticism or human problems. She holds God's hand eternally, fearlessly, joyfully, calmly, filled with the awe and wonder, excitement and surging love. That is the child I send this letter to. That is the child I know you were originally and are now. That is the child you know you are as well. She is the one I saw when the first time I met you those years ago. She hasn't gone anywhere. She hasn't been destroyed by time, guilt, mistakes, age, or anything else. The child of us seems to leave us in human time. It is supposed to, hidden for a long time and time, thence to be rediscovered and reborn right out here in time's sequential unfolding. She is the original Christ child of us, closer than fingers and toes, closer than breathing, waiting to be re-acknowledged, called forth, and rediscovered. Walk with her tonight, Rebecca. Look at the stars as you did those years ago. Be still and patient. Something will stir within. You will feel something deep within yourself. That greater than sensual marvel stirring within is the Christ child of yourself telling you that you are coming alive again and coming home again, that your longings can be fulfilled, that you have important things to do here in this arena of time and space. Hear me once again, Rebecca, with the strawberry hair. Your own childhood self is still alive. You will be looking at the world through those eyes again. I promise you that, because I know what I have found for myself. The child of you is the child of me, is the child of every man, lest we become as children, it is said. Tonight, in the quiet of your walk, feel that grand marvel within yourself, nothing less than the kingdom of heaven itself. That marvel we feel can grow into something 100 times more marvelous than anything we have ever imagined before. You and I are holding hands there, Becky. We are one with God and with all children. We joy uninhibitedly with a holy delight within. Religion knows a little about the child, but has rather misdirected attention to a figure out there in linear history. Metaphysics knows nothing of the child at all. Isn't that interesting? But don't misunderstand, metaphysics is subjectively correct. It is a part of the mystery. Religion's misdirection is correctly part of the mystery too. I have more to tell you as you find the child. Your time will come, lady who laughs and cries and worries about her children. The first child to concern yourself with is this one within. That one takes care of the others. Walk through the door tonight, Rebecca. Walk on beyond your fears. See how very much alive you are still. Something wonderful will walk with you tonight. Watch and see. Love from WOODSONG on a misty morning. Birds singing extra special for you and me and everyone. Old Han, Master of KWANGSE Province. From the Soldier's Notebook. The teacher was in a mystical mood the day the important metaphysician arrived. I recorded the words carefully and write them here. Han said, "There is a flame within us. It burns bright at times, and we feel it mightily. When it burns, we are warmed through and through. There is a child within us. When it stirs, we are brought alive. There is a bright light within. It comes ever closer as we get closer to the child, bringing a power with it that makes everything new. Between the flame and the child and the very bright light, nothing else is so real. The world falls away from them, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. I marvel at the wonderful plan that made me out of these three. We stand as a solitary, these two and I. I am become the child, and I reign as witness over my subjective view of things. I am given dominion here. Now hear this, all my old friends of KWANGSE Province. All that is true for me is true for you. The child within us proves it is true." A loud voice came from the courtyard. It was the important priest and metaphysician. "Oh yes, Master Han," he shouted so everyone could hear. "That sounds marvelously mystical and inspiring. But if it is true, why do you sit there eating porridge, looking more feeble than anyone? You don't look like one of those who has learned the mystery of life to me. You don't look like a teacher of truth is supposed to look." Han finished the last spoon of porridge, stretched himself out on the cot, and emitted an enormous belch. "The holy man you are looking for is inside you, my friend. The honest teacher tells you that." Soon Han was sleeping. The stranger left quickly to find another teacher.